The magic is happening in front of your eyes right here in a second. This is a drop-in construction, meaning that inside the shoe, you have a first layer of midsole. Hey everyone, and welcome back on the channel. My name is Alex. In today's video, we have a first impression review of the On Cloudboom Strike. This is the latest racing shoe from On. Racing shoe for the 5K, 10K, half marathon, marathon, no matter the distance. This is the shoe for racing from On. This shoe was sent to us by On, but they don't get to preview this video. And as always, it's gonna be honest and transparent. I have some good things to say about this shoe, but also some less good things. Let's get into it. First of all, this beautiful colorway, part of the Prism collection. It will be releasing on July 11th for €290 to $80 and £270. The Prism collection is linked with the upcoming Olympics. It will be available on July 11th, like I said, on the On website and i-run in Europe, some other retailers in Europe and in other parts of the world. Later in July, I don't know the specific date. More colorways coming later in 2024. If you want this one, make sure you're fast on the internet and you buy it quickly because it's limited quantities only. Looking at the specs, we have 39.5 millimeters of stack height in the heel, 35.5 in the forefoot for that 4 millimeters drop. It feels a bit less than 4 millimeters when running. It feels like a very flat shoe in some good ways, in some bad ways, depending on your foot strike type, and we'll come back to it. 210 grams for a size EU42 to 40 grams in my size US 11, EU45. 240 grams, as a reminder, is the weight of the Alpha 5.3, so it's a competitive weight. Weight is not an issue with this shoe at all. Looking at the upper of this shoe, it's a one-piece engineered mesh, super lightweight, super breathable. I was surprised by the comfort of that mesh. It has that cage that you can see through the mesh here. That cage is adding structure to the upper, especially here in that midfoot area. It's also creating a bit of volume in the toe box. The fit is true to size. It runs a bit long, but definitely not wide, unlike some other On shoes recently. It's a race-ready fit, meaning that the width of the fit was really perfect. A solid fit. The tongue is part of the upper. It's a one-piece upper, so the tongue is really integrated with that upper. I didn't have any issues other than a bit of wrinkling here at the front of the tongue, where it's a bit stretchy, and that material is meant to wrinkle, I think, but it didn't create any blisters or any friction on top of my foot. The piece of the upper that I like most, and you will be surprised, are the two bolsters here in the heel. Those two bolsters are meant to help with the lockdown of the heel. The heel is pliable and the lockdown is very nice. It's a molded heel. The two bolsters are very specific because they are covered with a material that acts differently depending on the way you touch it, you rub it. When you go from top to bottom, so the way you insert your foot in the shoe, it feels super soft and it's basically helping you go inside the shoe. If you touch it the other way around, from bottom to top, the way you take your foot out of the shoe, then it's abrasive. It has that small noise, a bit like sandpaper. And yeah, I just like it a lot. I don't know why, but it's small details. It feels like a gimmick. I really feel like it's helping to keep your heel in position because with that abrasion, it cannot really slide out of the shoe. The biggest issue, and that says a lot about the upper, is the laces, and it's not really a big issue because you can just swap those laces and put something else instead. They're really, really super long, and I could almost take my dog out for a walk with them. I don't have a dog, but that's just for the joke. As you can see, they're really, really long. I'm not sure the reason why I don't need this much length in terms of laces, especially when you don't get an extra eyelet to do a runner's knot. Those laces could be shorter, or get us an extra eyelet on the eyelet chain to do a runner's knot if you provide us with that much length. In terms of laces, the midsole is where all the magic happen. The compound is Helium HF, hyper foam, supercritical PBA foam, but the magic is not just the compound itself, it's the way it's constructed. And open up your eyes because the magic is happening in front of your eyes right here in a second. This is a drop-in construction, meaning that inside the shoe, you have a first layer of midsole. I would say about 20-25 millimeters of stack height or of thickness in the forefoot, about 10 millimeters of thickness in the heel. This drop-in part is not necessarily unique or new. We've seen some of them on the trails recently, but on the road, I think it's kind of new, unique. At least it's a feature that we haven't seen recently. On is really innovating and changing things with that sort of drop-in constructions. It's something special because I have very little words to describe it. It feels like you're even more connected to your shoe. It feels like you're even closer to that special foam, that special cushion, that special energy return. I really felt like I had that pillow here in my midfoot, forefoot. And we'll come back to the ride of the shoe, but I believe this feature adds to the fact that this shoe is meant more for midfoot, forefoot runners, or at least runners running at higher speeds, because the thickness here in that drop-in midsole is really in the forefoot, and that's really where I felt all the goodness coming out of this piece of material. I really enjoy this. If you will look at the construction, you have the carbon plate that you can see right here through the collar, and then another layer of Helion HF midsole that is closer to the ground and provides you with stability and an extra layer of energy return and cushion. This layer is also very specific because it's made of two different parts, two separate parts that help with the flexion of the shoe, but also with the torsion of the shoe, making it a very natural ride, yet super stable. And that's because the heel of the shoe is denser and firmer than the forefoot. It's not super welcoming in terms of ride. If you're a heel striker at slower paces, it becomes better at faster paces if you pound the ground with that shoe here in the heel. The magic for me really happens in the midfoot, in the forefoot of the shoe, where this drop-in piece and the rest of the shoe really help you to get that super stable platform to push on. Very also protective. I was cruising today at 330, 325 minutes per kilometer pace, and I felt like my forefoot was secure, cushioned, yet I was getting a lot of energy return, and each stride was really benefiting from that foam and that carbon plate acting together here in the forefoot. The ride is closer to the ride of an Alpha Fly or closer to the ride of a firmer Hoka Rocket X2 with a much more welcoming upper, if that makes sense, at least less snug upper. You can compare this shoe as well to the Cloudboom Echo 3 and say that this is just a much better version, an upgraded version that kind of addresses the issues that the Cloudboom Echo 3 had in terms of firmness and stiffness of the midsole. This is much more on par with the top shoes of the market today. And I'm not going to rank it right now in the tier list for super shoes, but I believe it is a contender for some of the top tiers in that list, at least based on my first impressions. Let's look at the outsole, and that was one of the issues with the Cloudboom Echo 3. It was wearing out fairly easily, fairly quickly. I think that this will be a bit better, but I will monitor it closely and I will report if I see early signs of wear and tear on this outsole. As you can see, there's a huge channel as well going from heel to toe that helps your foot strike align. Like I said, it's a stable ride, and that's due to the fact that the heel is a bit firmer and also a bit wider. You don't have a lot of wobbling in this heel, and it's really a shoe that I think can be used by many different types of runners, going from beginner runners to advanced runners. Pronators, middle pronators, high pronators can also benefit from this shoe because of the pronation it's offering without changing your ride and without changing your gait cycle. I think On did a fairly good job. The performance is on par with that ask in terms of price point. The question is, how will the shoe last in time? And that's what will or not justify this price. But overall, I'm excited because new tech, unique tech like this, like the small sandpaper on the bolsters, everything, you know, that makes shoes different and that bring joy to runners because of the small advancements, upgrades in running shoes, I'm obviously excited about. I hope you are excited as well about this shoe. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about this shoe. I'm more than happy to try and reply all of them. Thanks a lot for watching. Enjoy your run today, enjoy your ride, go beyond your limits, and let's link to the review of the On Cloudboom Echo 3. It's a shoe that you can still find, that is still relevant, but like, I feel like this is just a leap forward. So it's interesting to compare the two. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you in the next one.